It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, we are back. Did I ever tell you I was in Kuwait for about 2 months? And glorious city. I loved it. I loved it so much. It was so modern and clean, and the shopping, and just enjoyed it. I was freaked out about the war that was about to start. Hey, let me know when JD Vance comes out, okay? Because I want to hear a little bit of him. All right? Okay. JD Vance, the Vice President of the United States, all of 40 years old, and he's already the Vice President, only been in politics for 3 years. Isn't that amazing? Very, very bright guy. I asked somebody, how did he get so bright? I mean, a naturally intelligent, yes, but how does he become the vice president? Well, he was basically in the leading intellectual intelligentsia in conservative circles for years. He would go to these institutes and come up with papers and ideas, and he was very much part of what they call the conversation, right? The conversation. He was involved every step of the way. So let me know. What we're going to do is go back to, okay, yeah, actually, here's Vance right now, and I want to go to it early. He's going to be doing some pleasantries and jokes and that kind of thing. We might hear about Iran, and that's what I'm really most interested in right now. But go ahead.
The state has a very special place in my heart because I grew up in a poor family. I was raised by my grandmother, and then when I graduated from high school back in 2003, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. And I really spent the first 4 years of my adulthood not too far from here, in the eastern part of our state, becoming a young Marine and frankly becoming a young man. And I'll never forget one of the first major purchases I ever made in my entire life was when I wanted to buy, for the first time, I wanted to buy my own car as a young Marine. I was probably 19 years old. And I go to one of these off-base used car dealerships, and I find a Honda Civic. It's practical, it's cheap, it does everything I need it to do. And I'm going to get the dealer's low interest rate financing of 21%. And by the grace of God, I had a great United States Marine Corps gunnery sergeant, Gunny Arledge. I went back, I said, Gunny, I got a great news for you. He said, what? He said, I'm gonna buy my first car. He said, congratulations, Marine. That's a big step for a young Marine. He said, what's your interest rate? I said, 21%. And he nearly smacked me upside the head. And he said, stop being an idiot. And he didn't say that. He used more colorful language. But I said, we have a couple of young people out there. He said, go to Navy Federal Credit Union. And I got an 8% interest rate and bought my car without breaking the bank. So that was one of many lessons the state of North Carolina taught me. But what we're trying to do, I talk about the difference between a 21% interest rate that the used car dealer offered me and the 8% interest rate that I got offered at a credit union. And that's pretty much the difference between the Joe Biden and Donald Trump economic plan for the United States of America. Because in just a very brief time, we've seen new home purchases rise to their highest level in 5 years since the last time Donald Trump was president. We've seen the cost of rents drop.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be talking about the war. Let me see. I'll keep it up.
Come to the people of North Carolina about $3,700 per family, and we see interest rates that are the lowest they've been since the last time that Donald J. Trump was president. My friends, the president is impatient. He's the most impatient person I have ever met, in fact. He constantly is pressing on the gas. He wants us to do more, but I stand here proud to say that after the first year of President Donald Trump and congressional Republicans' leadership, we are rebuilding the American dream and we're taking back this country for the people of this state. Now, there are a number of things that I'm proud of, a number of things I want to brag on, but I actually want to take a little bit of an audience poll because I was looking at some of the things that we put in the working families tax cut, this one big, great, big, beautiful bill. Now, that bill is over 1,100 pages long, and unlike most of these bills that are way too long, this is chock full of good stuff for the people of this district, the people of this state. But there are a few things in particular that I think are important for this state. Number one, that piece of legislation, the working families tax cuts, had the biggest tax cut for Social Security benefits that we've ever seen in the United States of America.
All right, fantastic. I'm sorry, sometimes these economic speeches make me go a little bit woozy, right? A little bit on the drowsy side. Then again, Dan Kane isn't exactly, I mean, he could be talking about the end of the world and it would sound kind of droopy. But it's important. And before we do that, I just want to, our military is fantastic. Our resolve is strong. We got the best equipment. We got the best people. And we're going to win this thing. Now, one thing going forward, it is possible to overestimate the skill of our own military. I mean, we got great skill. We have great equipment. But that isn't always what wins the war, right? Afghanistan. Did we beat the Taliban or what? Did we have better stuff? Yes. Are our people better than their people? Yes. But somehow they held on, and 20 years later, they're still running that country. We foolishly came up with the goal of turning Afghanistan into who the hell knows what, some sort of, country like Canada. We can't do it. They're not capable of doing it. They're in love with their warfare. We just should have gone in there and bombed the terrorists and killed them and gotten the hell out. We could have been done in 8 months, not 20 years. Total stalemate. But our equipment and our personnel, right? Yeah, superior. But then what? Vietnam was a draw, basically, a tie. We had better stuff than those guys. I mean, quite frankly, some of their military, they had savages, quite frankly. They were just so terrible. But that's not always what wins, like the superior mechanisms, the sophisticated technology. And President Trump, he loves this stuff. I know he does. He believes in it. So do I. Listen to this. Cut 4, please. Cut 4.
But the United States proved once again that we have the most powerful, most lethal, most sophisticated, and most fearsome. It's a fearsome military on planet Earth.
Best. Better than any military in the world by far.
We have the greatest military anywhere in the world. We make the greatest military equipment anywhere in the world.
We do. But that doesn't mean we automatically win because we have all that great stuff. But I do think there's a real disconnect between what's really happening and what's being reported. President Trump also on the status of what the hell's going on in this war. Cut 8, please. Cut 8.
The situation with Iran is moving along very rapidly. It's doing very well. Our military is unsurpassed. There's never been anything like it. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And we're doing what has to be done. Should have been done during a 47-year period. Could have been done by a lot of different people. They chose not to do it. But they really are a nation of terror and hate. And they're paying a big price right now.
Well, all true. But people like the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times perpetually panicked. And there are people in the administration who are a little bit panicked, too. There's all kinds of drama behind the scenes, right? And people kind of vying for influence with the boss, and they want things to go their way. And if it's not going their way, they want to crap all over, what's happening, right? Because they should have gone our way. They should have taken our. The classic Washington, D.C. memoir is, if only they listen to me. If only they listen to me. Pentagon is moving additional Marines, warships to the Middle East. President Trump said Iranians aren't likely to rise up soon against the regime. All 6 crew members were killed after an American refueling plane crashed in Iraq. The Pentagon is moving a Marine expeditionary unit and more warships to the Middle East as Iran steps up its attacks in the Strait of Hormuz. Hegseth, the defense secretary, has approved a request from CENTCOM for an element of an amphibious ready group and detached Marine expeditionary unit typically consisting of several warships and 5,000 Marines and sailors, according to 3 U.S. officials. I was in one of those things, by the way, a MEU, a Marine Expeditionary Unit, a MUSOC. What does the SOC stand for? I'll give you $1 million if you can tell me what SOC stands for. Special Operations Capable. You're looking at a special operations guy. All 6 crew members aboard a KC-135 refueling aircraft that went down in western Iraq on Thursday have died, according to the U.S. Central Command. 13 service members have been killed in action during Operation Epic Fury, according to the military. What else do we know here? Iran's supreme leader likely wounded. NATO intercepted a missile in the Turkish airspace for the 3rd time this month. Some Iranian leaders attended pro-regime demonstrations on Friday as the country held an annual day of pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli rallies. Oil prices rose back above $100 after dipping below that level following the U.S. decision to allow countries to purchase sanctioned crude already at sea. The narrow Strait of Hormuz waterway typically sees 20% of the world's oil flow through it. Over 80% of the crude oil and liquefied natural gas that goes through is destined for Asian markets, primarily Japan, China, and India. Since the start of the war, traffic has slowed to a trickle as Iran's attacks on commercial vessels have forced ship owners to suspend sailings. Some of the few ships that have made it through the strait were mostly carrying Iranian oil. India is in talks with Iran to allow passage for at least 23 tankers carrying oil and LNG that have been stuck in the Gulf. Very important. Dan Kane, I want to go back to you, please. The 4-star general and the chief military advisor to the President of the United States.
Today. Now, as I often do, I want to share a little bit about our incredible joint force. Today, I'm going to talk about our incredible artillery force comprised of American soldiers and Marines who've been sinking ships, destroying depots, and launching Army tactical missile systems, or ATACMS, precision strike missiles, or PRISMs, and high-mobility rocket systems, or HIMARS. From outside Iran, our Army and Marine artillerymen are hitting sites that Iran relies on to project power beyond their borders and protect our deployed. In just the first 13 days of this operation, our artillery forces have made history. They fired the first precision strike missiles ever used in combat, reaching deep into enemy territory. They've used Army ATACMS to sink multiple ships, including a submarine, and they've done all of this with the precision and determination that comes from relentless training and trust in each other and in their weapon systems. Yesterday, I had the incredible honor and privilege of speaking with some of our young soldiers from the 3rd Battalion, 27th Field Artillery Regiment out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the unit and the crew that fired the first precision strike missiles. The soldiers I met came from all over this great country, New York, Texas, Delaware.
All right. I don't need to know that. I already know that. I know our boys are great, and I know they're from all over the country. I need some more facts. I need to know what the hell's going on. And I don't want to talk to those worried guys at the White House. Sometimes I feel like I'm being spun in the, right? You know, everyone seems to be playing a game. Everybody seems to jerk somebody around. All right, real quick. Ed, what is it?
Hey, Greg, listen, going back to yesterday, Mick O'Rourke, I love that guy. You know, you didn't mention the Pope of Greenwich Village. That movie was off the charts, unbelievable. I grew up in Monmouth County. I've been to Monmouth Park many, many times. There's nothing like going to Monmouth Park in the summer, and it's nice and warm out, and watching a few races. And there was a number of clips in that movie at Monmouth Park. Do you recall that, sir?
No, I actually never saw that movie. That's why I didn't mention it. I know about it. I know he was in it, but I remember it was on cable, and for whatever reason, I had no desire to see it. It wasn't like a lot of action. It was all talking, right?
No, sir. You got to watch the movie. It's unbelievable. Matter of fact, Daryl Hannah was in it. What's his name? Oh my God!
Oh, him. He's good.
Yeah. Her father. Not Daryl Hannah. Oh gosh.
All right.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it. Pope of Greenwich Village. I'll see if I can get around to it. Probably not. You know.
Anyway, thank you for interviewing your daughters online. That's Radio Gold. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Very, very much. Yeah, I know those girls, huh? They are very popular. We're going to start an Instagram page for them, huh? They're so awesome. Russ and his attitude. What does he have to say? Nasty Russ. Yeah, hi.
Come on, Greg. I figure Marco's in collar jail, so I get early release, right? I want to ask you about your wartime experience because I think it's very valuable and what unconditional surrender means, because my understanding is that in wartime, an occupation army follows unconditional surrender, and that results in the mass rapes of wives and daughters in the occupied country. And, that's why October 7th,
All right. Settle down. Right. So, all right. Be quiet, Russ. He goes from, President Trump calls for unconditional surrender. And you say unconditional surrender means we want to rape them. Is that that's what you just said, Russ?
I said in wartime, World War II.
Yeah, well, did unconditional surrender of the Japanese. Did American soldiers go around raping the Japanese like crazy?
I know you don't like to think of it, but it happened.
It happened. Just like there's a rape probably that happened in Brooklyn last night.
Well,
all right. No, sir. The point about unconditional surrender, if you've been listening and watching, the moment he mentioned unconditional surrender, people started debating, how can a surrender be unconditional? Unconditional. People like you, unconditional, that means rape, right? Unconditional. But what they are talking about, right, what becomes a given is not unconditional surrender, but surrender. They're talking about surrender. It's like, we're going to build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for the wall. And be like, Mexico's not going to pay for the wall. There's no way Mexico's going to pay for the wall. But what are they not debating anymore? The wall. You get it? It's genius, Russ. Study, listen, and you will learn. Thank you, pal. I'll be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Like this one, I think. And this one.
And this one?
Yes.
Because that one is colorful.
It is colorful.
Okay.
What colors?
All right, who wants to... Orange, blue, purple, blue, green, black.
Is there yellow in there? What? Yellow?
Yellow. And
is that? That's me. It's amazing. You're such a legend for these kids. You can do no wrong. Even when you do wrong. Oh. Just amazing. You notice my wife in the background? Okay, now. She's always saying, enough fun. We got to go there. We got to go here. Somebody's got to get dressed. Anyway, thank God for her. We never get anything done without the wife. I'm the boss. Don't get me wrong. One, I do. Two, I'm the boss. I delegate a lot of things to her. All right. Sometimes I have to reassert my domestic authority because I'm like the chairman. She's like the CEO. But I have total and complete voting power, control, majority. All right. Don't tell my wife that
though. Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, we're back, and if you don't mind, can we? We have we're going to just dip into Vice President Vance for just a second here.
Protect the American people. I hate to disappoint you, but I'm not going to show up here and in front of God and everybody else tell you exactly what I said in that classified room. Partially because I don't want to go to prison. And partially because I think it's important for the President of the United States to be able to talk to his advisors without those advisors running their mouth to the American media.
Fair point.
Thank you all.
He's got it. General Blaine Holt, retired from the Air Force. He knows strategy. He knows the world. He knows tactics. And he knows business as well. General Holt, welcome back. That made a lot of sense. They wanted Vice President Vance to spill the beans, what's going on behind the scenes, but they can't do that, obviously, right?
No, we call that a security violation, and they're not about to be handed classified information in a nice little cozy presser where they promise not to tell anybody.
So look, what's your state? What's your sense? How are things going? What are you worried about? What should we be worried about? Give us your overall, lay of the land view of the Iran war.
Yeah, overall, I think everything's going very well. There are some priorities that I know the president is working on. You can tell because those beautiful Marines out of Japan, the 31st MEU, they are now with the Tripoli underway to get to the Straits of Hormuz to force them open. That is the number one priority overseas, in my view, because it's not just about the oil. It's about the precursors to fertilizer. It is planting season in the third world. They have to have that to avoid a famine. And it is about neon and helium because those are the precursors to electronics, and those supply chains would come to a grinding halt too. China's on the sidelines because they're effectively getting oil out of there. We shouldn't be upset about that. So that's that. Now, the big concern here at home is terror cells. And the guys from the IRGC are not going to wear placards around their necks that say, "Hi, I'm from the IRGC and I'm here to create a terror event." They're going to go hire out those who are inspired to do their acts. They're going to work in the background with the cartels, and we're already starting to see some of that. It's not even really getting reported that well. We saw the synagogue in Michigan, but hardly anybody knows that a refinery was hit in LaPorte, Texas this morning. So about 5-6 events across the nation that I'm tracking on, I'm expecting more. And so we have to keep our head on a swivel.
What do you know? Wait, a refinery was hit in Texas?
Yep, LaPorte, Texas. I'm not sure if it was a drone strike. I just know that they had an event happen inside the refinery and they had an explosion. I'm not sure of the damage.
Okay, we got to check that out. All right, so look, the MEU, the Marine Expeditionary Unit, 5,000 Marines, the Tripoli, all the ships that go with that. How are they going to keep the Straits of Hormuz open? First of all, when do they get there?
They'll probably steam about 10 days is what I'm expecting for them to be able to get on station. They're already working their plans and tactics for how to force the straits open. The new element that is in the battle space that we didn't plan for before, even though they were grilling Hegseth about it today, is we're in a drone, robotics, AI-infused battle space. And America is now getting her first taste of this, like Russia and Ukraine have been going at it. And now we've got to adapt ourselves to taking these robots down. Now, we have tools. We've got lasers. We've got electronic warfare. And the best of the best on the 31st MEU, they're coming. They've got all their enablers in place there. They don't have a well deck on the Tripoli, so that tells me a lot. The well deck is all of the facilities underneath for a pure aviation battle. And there is aviation on board, but I think it's going to be a command and control ship that really gets after holding the straits and keeping them open and protecting the escorts that are going to take ships through.
Okay. What about these drones? Where is there any end in sight with these drones? They got a lot of them and they're still firing them. I hear, okay, they're degraded, but they're still flinging them our way.
Well, they're pretty infinite in terms of supply, and you can conceal them very well because for like a Shahed 136, that big triangle drone, all you need is a little Toyota pickup truck, and you can just drive out in the open and launch it. Now, then we'll come after your pickup truck. But the bigger thing is we're going to have to use microwaves, electronic warfare, space assets, the best of our technologies without throwing $4 million missiles at $250,000 drones.
Okay. So when do you anticipate this thing being over, and what are the danger points, flashpoints between now and then?
I'm going to guess we're going to call over probably by early fall. I know that the president is talking about 5 to 6 weeks. That's probably 5 to 6 weeks to get the Free Iranian people well underway in taking down this regime. But we're going to have a lot of work here at home with mopping up these cells. There's going to be a lot of rush to try to balkanize Iran. We're going to have to help prevent that, and we're going to have to do that without 130,000 forces on the ground. And so it will take some time. But in terms of getting through the critical phases, I do think 5 to 6 weeks is probably the right number. And right now, we are already seeing Iranian people contacting our intelligence services and pointing out where the regime is hiding. They're actually doing targeting for us on the ground.
Wait, just so I understand. I think you said we'll be done by the fall. But then you're saying is it 5 to 6 weeks or 5?
I would say your primary objectives are accomplished in 5 to 6 weeks. I would say we probably won't call this thing stabilized completely until the end of the summer. Is my best guess. Wow. Okay. That's worrisome. I would like to have this thing done much sooner. I have dinner plans. We would all like to have that done. I promise your United States military is doing everything they can to get that crap behind them and get their butts home.
What about the KC-135 that went down? What happened there?
That was the last aircraft I flew on active duty. You have it's a 65-year-old airplane. You've got great crews. They were flying at what we call a tanker cell, a 2-ship of tankers, getting ready to take fighter units through them to refuel for the targeting of Iran missions. But it does look like we've had a mid-air collision here in that cell. Flying over Iraq is a very dangerous proposition with sandstorms. You've flown there. You know what that visibility is like on a hot day. And I'm not saying that we're going to find out processes weren't followed or whatever, but what we are going to find out is that when you're extremely fatigued and you're called on to do this duty, flying a tanker in a 2-ship is no easy task. And we pray for the 6 members who are gone and their families. We're all waiting to find out who these folks are. And again, this is part of my tribe that I flew airlift and tanker stuff with, and it's really devastating to watch how these folks go. And I just wish that the senators would take a note here that those kids are flying 65-year-old aircraft in combat. So think about that if you're an elected official, because that's on you.
Yeah, and also for those who don't serve, or even those who do, it's interesting. This is a great big tanker, right? It's not a fighter jet. It's not. And anybody really in the military, bad things can happen, even in training. Can I ask you this? I want to revisit, though, the 3 F-15s that got shot down on takeoff out of Kuwait. I saw something on X, and it made me kind of like, yeah, wait, what the hell did happen with that? Is that really a friendly fire? I mean, that's pretty bizarre. You have any concerns about that? 3 F-15s get shot down by one Kuwaiti jet? I don't know. What's going on there?
You don't want to think the worst of a partner or an ally, but all warfare comes down to individuals and people with their own motives and motivations. I would love it if we'd have transparency in the investigation, but if it's an intentional hit on our airmen, then we need to address that, and we need to have that out there, because we need to explain to the American people how very dangerous and deadly this is. I had an incident in my own base in Central Asia where a so-called ally from the Middle East acted so horribly. I had Navy SEALs that I had to keep from killing them. And so we do owe the families that are supporting their crews in harm's way a full explanation about what happened there.
Okay, so yeah, sometimes you got a good guy there. You're told that he's an ally. We're officially allies, but it's happened before. They just opened fire on us, and that may have happened here. All right, General Holt, we appreciate it. How'd you get so smart? Seriously, what was your major in college?
Well, it was management information systems, but I have to tell you, my choice of undergrad at the University of Georgia, I owe it all to them.
What do you mean?
Georgia's a great school to go if you would love to learn business and all about strategy. Well, go on down to Athens, Georgia. You'll have a great social life, and you'll learn a few things along the way.
Huh. I thought it was all about the dogs, right? The football. You guys are crazy about them dogs.
We lead with that.
It's a great institution if it's putting out people like you and the B-52s. Don't forget them. Thank you. Blaine Holt.
And REM.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, wow. We love it. Thank you, sir. All the best.
Thanks, brother.
General Blaine Holt, everybody. Really impressive guy. Okay. I have to take a very quick break. I have to wash my hands, and I shall return.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, so we just heard from Blaine Holt, a possible terror attack in Texas. Did he say LaForte, Texas? Let's just see what the hell is going on down there. And sometimes our friend Blaine Holt finds out things before anybody else. And I'm not seeing anything about Texas right now. Let's see here. Texas terror. Let's see here. Nothing. Another quick check of X. I don't see anything here either. They keeping this, we can't have panic in this country, right? We can't have, but you wonder. Texas. We had it at Old Dominion University. You see the poor guy who got shot, the head of the ROTC instructional unit there, Lieutenant Colonel, who may, quite frankly, have been Islamic himself. I'm not sure, but his name was Shah, S-H-A-H. Texas terror. And I am still not seeing anything for any kind of disturbance in Texas. Hold on a second. Let's just see. Double check. Nope. Now, maybe they want to keep it quiet. And maybe, then again, nothing happened. But we got a lot going on here, right? Mass shooting in Texas last week. That was an Islamist terrorist. Islamic terrorists threw 2 deadly bombs at New York City police last week. Islamic terrorists shot multiple people at Old Dominion University yesterday, and an Islamic terror attack on Temple, Israel in Michigan yesterday. And with that, actually, we do have some more information on what happened there. And I have a picture of the guy, and it looks to me like this was another case of Islamic, ISIS-related terror. It's kind of in black and white. Give me one moment here. Authorities still processing, but this looks like, all right, we have a photograph of the Michigan terrorist who tried to murder Jewish toddlers. New details are surfacing about this man's ties to Hezbollah. We have all I can say is he looks like he probably lived in the Middle East at some point. It's a 2019 photo of Ayman Ghazali, a naturalized U.S. citizen from Lebanon. One picture here, he's got a full beard, the other one all clean. Ghazali was stopped by authorities in 2019 when he returned to the U.S. from overseas and claimed he went abroad for a hair transplant. On Thursday, Ghazali rammed his car loaded with mortar shells into Temple, Israel and West Bloomfield, but was stopped when security guards opened fire. No children or staff inside the school were injured, but Ghazali was killed when the vehicle then burst into flames. The Dearborn Heights resident is believed to have first entered the U.S. in 2011 and was granted citizenship by 2016. He then was questioned by authorities in Atlanta in 2019 after coming back from a trip overseas and had been known to travel to Lebanon. He told officials he had gone overseas for a hair transplant. He also had contacts on his phone of known Hezbollah members. The FBI followed up on the situation, but it's unclear what the outcome was. Well, that's the FBI for you. They seem to know everything and do nothing. They always get oh yeah, we knew about that guy, but they just blow it off. All right, we have to go. The week is over. The week is pretty much over. Isn't that nice? What is going on this weekend? Hello, Charles in New Jersey. Yes, sir. Is he there?
Thanks for your service. Yes.
Hey.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a pleasure, sir. Thanks for your service. That other character that you were talking to about saying about unconditional surrender means that, like, our military is going to go raping people. Well, I was in Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I was in, we were actually patrolling Strait of Hormuz and everything like that. We were doing maritime interdiction. And that fellow doesn't know nothing or anything, about our military, and chances are he wasn't even
Yeah, don't worry about it. That's Russ. He's always saying fake news.
Abu Dhabi.
Uh-oh, you're breaking up a little bit, pal. You there now? Sorry.
Things to their people, Screening and innovative.
All right, Charles, you're breaking up a little bit. I appreciate it. Stay in touch. Don't worry about that Russ character. We always got a little issue with him. Michael, hello.
Hello, Greg. Thanks for taking my call. That earlier caller, Tim, was leading into a very, very serious question about the nature of Islamist belief. Is it a religion, or is it a dangerous political system that we have to address at some point?
Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there. Islam is the problem. Muslim is the problem. No, I'm not ready to say that because I just don't know enough. But obviously, Islamic-inspired terrorism, and which is something that Barack Obama would not acknowledge, that is a huge problem. And it's not just lip service to say, well, I know plenty of respectful Muslims. Actually, there are, all right? And there are who have worked over the years closely with the NYPD, great partnerships. They got that cricket league, all kinds of things. It's not, you know, I can go through any religious book and find some stuff that's going to turn somebody off, right? Right. And things can be taken out of context. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that with something I have not read. I haven't read the Quran. Have you, by the way? I'm just curious. I mean, what?
Yeah, my undergraduate major was ancient and medieval history in the City University, so I did read the Quran. In fact, I took a course on Islamic studies. But the other issue...
And what was your takeaway about it? What's the deal?
Well, there were very, very serious questions about many of the beliefs, Quran, going for the death of the infidel, the non-believer. And it was very disturbing, and the professor in the class was a practicing Muslim, and he never wanted to address it, really. He realized it was an embarrassing part of the information.
Well, you know, I want to know more, and that's interesting, and that is interesting. I'd like to know more myself, right? I got to study it. I mean, it does say in the Bible, right, if your eye causes you to commit adultery, right, what do? Yep. Gouge out your eyeball.
Work it out.
Oh, well, I ain't doing that. Right? I'm not going to do that. And what happens when some Muslim guy shows up here and you say, hey, who are you to talk? Your God tells you to gouge out your eyeball if you look at somebody funny.
Greg, I have another question.
What?
What would happen if a Jewish group wanted to have a service in City Hall, or a satanic group wanted to have a black mass in City Hall now that the mayor has had an Islamic service?
I know what you're getting at. It would be a total eruption. Or, quite frankly, if a bunch of Christians wanted to hold mass in the Blue Room, right, which is a...
Correct.
Yeah, I know. Now, however, having said that, you are allowed to practice the whole idea of separation of church and state, like there can never be any crossover. That's not true either, right? We can't have that either. So there's a little bit of a gray area. But this guy, let's face it, is trying to pick a fight, all right? He's trying to get a reaction. And he has gotten one, all right? It was a misuse of that room. Thank you, pal. Let me try this. Louis, hello.
Greg, hi. I heard a couple of news reports that those fuel tankers don't carry parachutes. What's that all about?
Yeah, I don't think they do. My wife was asking me about this. Number one, I know they don't have ejection seats, right? No ejection seats. So there's that. And then she said, do they have parachutes? I had to think for a second. Maybe they do. They could bail out. I don't know. I should have asked General Holt. Look, you know,
I tried to get through when he was on the air.
Well, when pilots are flying on JetBlue, they don't have parachutes, right? I mean, it would be a very unusual scenario where the plane is going down and your best option is to jump out of the plane, a plane like that. It's just, that's not the kind of mishap it tends to have, right? I mean, it would have to be a totally catastrophic structural failure for that thing to stop flying, right? And
you would think that any military aircraft would carry emergency parachutes.
Well, it might, but I just don't think that's going to help you all that much. Right? It's just, first of all, you can't fly an airplane like that and wear a parachute. You'd have to put it on, you'd have to get dressed up, and by that time, you know, you're probably already screwed. However, if you're flying a fighter jet, man, you got one strapped to your back. You're sitting on a rocket ship, literally. By the moment you start the engine, you can eject if you want to. And that's quite a ride. I've taken it once. Oh, I'm sorry. There's the music. Anthony, happy birthday. What's your birthday wish there, pal? Real quick.
March 13th, 63.
Oh.
I'm 63 years old.
Oh, happy birthday. Is it March 13th?
Don't forget old-time radio shows.
Yeah. What? All right. I'll see you later. And many thanks, okay? Victory.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?